Ready for this title fight at 168 pounds. We go to the tail of the tape. Kayla Plant in his prime, 28 years old. Both men are 6'1". Truax, 37 years old. Reach is about the same. A lot more experience and wear on the tires as well for Caleb Truax. Kayla Plant, 20-0, defending his title. So let's get ready for the main event. Plant and Truax, the battle of Caleb's here in LA. Let's go to the ring. And Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Shrine Auditorium Expo Hall here in Los Angeles, California, Premier Boxing Champions presents the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by TGB Promotions and Sweethands Promotions in association with Warriors Boxing and sponsored by Geico. This bout is sanctioned by the IBF, the president, Daryl Peoples. Introducing our three judges, scoring from ringside, we have Max DeLuca, Dr. Lou Moret, and Zachary Young. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Super Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Los Angeles, it's time for the main event of the evening. Introducing to you first on my left, the challenger, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing maroon trunks with gold trim, hailing from Osseo, Minnesota. He weighed in at 167 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 31 wins, 4 losses and 2 draws, with 19 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, looking to regain his title, here is the current top-rated contender and the former IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the World, Caleb Golden Truax. And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with pink and yellow trim, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of his home, Nashville, Tennessee. He weighed in at a ready 167 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 20 wins, no losses, 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the third defense of his title, here is the undefeated, reigning and defending IBF Super Middleweight Champion of the World, introducing Sweethands, Caleb Plant. And the referee in charge now to give instructions, Jerry Cantu.
2 seconds. Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. Gentlemen, you were given your instructions in the dressing room. This is for the IBF World title. I expect a good, clean, hard fight, and you will obey my commands at all times. Catch them up. Good luck to both of you.
Well, we've learned that already tonight, Sean Porter. Jerry Cantu will take command in the ring. You better listen to him. By the way, tonight's odds provided by FOX Bet. If you place $100 on the favorite, Caleb Plant, you would win $4, payout of $104. $100 on Caleb Truax, you win $1,000 with a payout of $1,100. So Caleb Plant is a huge favorite in this fight, and for good reason, but Caleb Truax will try to do what he can. And I know, Sean, you thought that Truax, maybe his best chances early, or do you think otherwise?
No, he's got to find moments. In order to win this fight, he's got to find moments to put some pressure on Caleb Plant. Easier said than done.
Right, he said he'll use his determination, and he'll use his experience, and knows that, hey, at times, Caleb Plant will fade. At times. But I don't know if that's going to be early. Round 1 underway. Caleb Plant in the black with the fringe, and Caleb Truax in the gold and the red trunks out of Minnesota. And he was just running in Minnesota, 3 degrees only several days ago before flying into LA.
2 good body shots to the by Caleb Plant. Early and often, that's what I always say about going to the body.
Caleb Plant, again, a multi-dimensional fighter. Again, he can fight with speed. He takes pride in his hand speed, but he will also plant, so to speak, and throw hard shots. He says he can go off the front foot, the back foot, tries with the hook there, springs in, and you can see how fast those hands are, right hand to the body as well.
Very fast. And I like what you said when he was coming to the ring. He's a thinking man in the ring, and that's a guy who can think and also has the ability to see it all and do it all. That's a hard guy to fight against.
Well, it's a cliche, Sean, but he is a student of the game. We were talking about that with Michael Coffey. That's a good hook from Plant, but he is a student of the game, and you can see the improvements.
Yeah, he very much so is a student of the game, so much that he'll know everything about his opponent, where his opponent lives, the exact address, how many people live in that house, and what car that opponent drives. You know, he really is a thinker and a student of the game. I know him personally, you know, so no surprise to see him in the middle of the ring right now and controlling everything at this point in the fight.
Sounds like he's like bound for a Liam Neeson flick or something.
No, like for real. Like I said that. I said, yo, he's kind of like a taking kind of guy, huh?
I don't know, CIA or something like that. You see, he's able to land the jab and then a right to the body, so he's already showed a little creativity in his arsenal. There it is again, a little jab, and then throwing that right hand, now a left hand, throws that hook into the body on Truax.
And Caleb Truax, if anything, being defensive, but also being patient. I think that's going to work to his advantage. If you rush against a guy like Caleb Plant, you're going to walk into something.
Strong combinations there from Plant, already landing 10 punches. Truax tries the hook to the body. Again, Truax is 37 years old. What was so impressive about his win over DeGale was his consistency. He is very athletic, former baseball player, football player, turned boxer a little late, but very athletic and very game.
Got to be consistent. I like that word. If you're Caleb Truax tonight, be consistent. If you're defensive, be defensive. Be consistent with that. Don't get touched, and give Caleb Plant more confidence than he already has. And the same thing offensively. When it's time to go and get that offensive attack off and be consistent with it.
Stumble there from Plant as he backed up. Final 10 seconds of what was a quick round one. That went quickly.
No, I'm not mad at it.
Just a lot of tension here. Hook doubling up on the hook, and Plant tries a right hand. Tonight's Corner Cam is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need, and we'll go to the corner of the champ, Caleb Plant.
All right. Big deep breath. Water. Fucking don't. Hey, don't worry about it. Hey, the last right hand, you want to throw it straight. Straighten it out a little bit. All right. Hey, try not to close the distance with one big shot. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Try not to close the distance with one big punch. Try to, nice and easy to close the distance, because he's going to keep going back until you force him into the ropes or something. So not one big punch or one jab, it goes in just nice and easy. And then have fun in there, man. All right, that was a good, you see what he's capable of. You're too good for me, too fast, but you just got to put the pieces in the right spot, that's all. You do that, golden. All right, and straighten that right hand out a little bit more rather than a right hook.
Right here's a replay of, this is a quick left hook from the outside, and that's one of Caleb's weapons right there. He's gonna find that quick hook, almost like a Roy Jones. It's really quick and fast, and it's from the outside. Most guys don't see punches like that coming.
And when you throw a jab normally before you throw a hook, and then you come up with that, right, Sean? That's when it can land.
Exactly.
Good right hand as well from Caleb Plant. Justin Gamber in the corner, Sean, I think looked like he had it kind of figured out. Like, you're too fast for this guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you're supposed to tell Caleb Plant. Even if you only, he didn't land as much as you normally would, you give him the confidence. Hey, you are fast. Keep using your hands and keep working those combinations. They're gonna work.
He just snapped Caleb Truax's head back with that jab. That's like a classic winky right jab snap, and able to pick up the head. So all sorts of good work early on here from Caleb Plant, and we're only in round number 2.
Right here's the moment that I was talking about for Caleb Truax. Don't relax right there. Take advantage right there.
Yeah, the moment when there's a little lull in energy, just even a slight ebb.
That you get close to him, you corner him against the ropes like that, boom, take advantage. Those are going to be the moments for Caleb Truax in this fight.
You know, Brian Kenny and Sean Porter here, again, calling our main event. Sean, we've gotten so used to this. You've already fought in these conditions, but there are no fans here. And Kayla Plant hasn't dealt with this. Again, his last fight was Nashville, his hometown. It was jam-packed. How different is that for him, if at all?
You know, it's funny because you got nothing but your corner telling you that you're doing things right, you know? And most corners aren't really speaking up too much during the course of the fight, so you got nothing. When you land a good punch, it's all up to you to recognize that punch that you landed. There's no crowd to give you anything, you know, so there's no energy here. All the energy comes from the inside.
Right. It's funny, we've called so many fights, Sean, including yours back in August, where, you know, there's a big topic of conversation. We've gotten past that, but for the fighter, he hasn't. When they went to the corner, I thought, wow, it's quiet. Yeah, he must have felt that too.
You were here when I fought, right?
No, I was here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You were here in the stadium, and you're big leaguing everybody now and doing it remotely. You know, and somehow you still know what it feels like to be here, which is crazy.
Back and forth. The COVID regulations.
You see all the thumbs up going up and everything. I don't know how you're doing this, pulling this off, but I like it.
More focused, right? Compartmentalizing, like Michael Coffey. Your final 30 seconds of round number 2. And Caleb Truax able to have just a little bit of more success here the second round, but a good repertoire being shown by Plant in this fight.
Absolutely, and he as well being very patient through the course of now 2 rounds and picking his punches very carefully.
Plant outlanding Truax by a wide margin, even though Truax able to block some of these shots. But there's a hook that landed for Plant. Final seconds. Good work by the champ. You're more grounded, aren't you, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that punch, though, I'm not gonna lie.
Round number 3, IBF Super Middleweight Championship, Caleb Plant, Caleb Truax. Plant in the black trunks right there, outlanding Truax 31-7. Truax, again, the big opportunity here. He's still ranked in the top 10 in the Ring Magazine ratings, ESPN rankings. Again, held this title 3 years ago. Again, has not fought since June of early 2020, got a majority decision against a 41-year-old opponent. So this a big shot out of nowhere, doing this on name value, and getting a chance against Caleb Plant, who, Sean, as I mentioned, seems to be peaking. I mean, look at him doubling up, tripling up on that jab.
He is. He's peaking. He's a very mentally focused fighter, and it's very, very hard to find guys like that at this point in their careers. And that's what keeps him going, is he's focused. He's got a mission, and it's almost like he hasn't lost sight of that mission at all. And you need so much when you're going up against a guy like Caleb Plant. You need a good jab of your own, if not great. You need fast feet, fast hands. You need a whole lot. And I'm not sure, not only 3 rounds in, but I'm not sure if Caleb Truax has anything at all for him. But I'm hoping that Caleb Truax will flip a switch and start, you know, pressuring Caleb Plant the way I expected him to.
He's going to have to do something here. And Sean, you bring up a point as I'm looking at Plant, and there's a little hook to the body and then to the head, and a right hand to the body as well by Plant. There's a mental pressure that Plant puts on you. He's never far away from you, always thinking and always menacing, even when he's not throwing.
Yep, you're true. That's very true. And then even right there, how can you be this close to Caleb Plant and not hit him? It really does take something out of you when you can't hit a guy.
And look to the left of the screen here as we're watching live action on the right, but you'll see Plant able to land and really just snapping jab, doubling up, and then that was a quick right hand too. He changed the pace on that, didn't he, Sean?
Yep. He's got fast hands. What does he call them? Sweethands? I'm not crazy about the nickname, but it fits him because he really has great hands, and when he lets them go, there's no telling what's going to happen.
And we joked about Jerry Cantu, if you were watching earlier, and Jerry Cantu said, you know, listen to my commands. He took 2 points away from a fighter for an illegal shot earlier. So Jerry will take control, although he's been able to slide out of the action so far in the main event.
No. Let's not get it mistaken. Jerry Cantu is a great ref. He just felt like he needed to take control in that fight that we saw earlier. And I personally think like he overdid it a little bit. But you know,
what I'm saying is when he says listen to my commands now, I'm a little more apt to listen.
Yeah.
Jerry, I hear you.
Absolutely.
Take it easy. There's round 3. Back here in our main event, there's Caleb Plant, world champion at 168 pounds, IBF titleist, and is a very serious man in the gym. Again, there's the Sweethands, all different types of push-ups, and also, I don't even know if Sean Porter can do this.
Don't ask.
Look at this.
No, this is serious. Yeah.
He's not on a space shuttle.
I've never seen him do that one. I'm glad I'm not in the gym with him anymore.
Wow. Again, you know, your level of commitment in the gymnasium, right, Sean? That dictates an awful lot.
It shows up in the fight. It shows up in the fight.
A dedicated champion. Round 4, Caleb Plant, Caleb Truax, Brian Kenny, and Sean Porter with you here in Los Angeles. Again, the main event now, and Caleb Plant, big things on the horizon at 168 pounds. And he needs to look good in every single fight.
Yeah.
To kind of create that mandate for the big fights in this weight class.
You see that there was a triple jab. That's something you don't really see too often. Guys have a tendency to throw one, maybe two, never three. And opposite side of it is the other guy normally does not expect 3 jabs. Truax, if you're gonna find success, start using your jab. I like the way he came out this 4th round using the jab.
Now, Caleb Truax, Sean, was very realistic coming into the fight. He said, look, I know he's a good fighter. He's got good combinations, good ring IQ. He goes, but I'll need to be at my best to beat him, but I have more experience. And he said, look, he's had an easier road than I had.
Yeah.
You know, and in boxing, that can come back, you know, to cost you. And look, you know, Plant doesn't have the type of resume that you had with guys on the way up. He seems very fresh, still very, new. I don't know if Truax is going to be able to take advantage of that, but it is true. He's fought the much better fighters than Plant has.
Well, Caleb Plant's got a lot of variety to his punches. I mean, I go back just a little bit. He's got a strong jab from the outside. He's got a snapping jab from the outside. Then he's got this lean-in left uppercut that goes right to the head, not to the body. Then he'll go to the body. I mean, he's just got so much coming at one time that it's hard to keep up with. And then if you're a guy, Caleb Truax, you're like, hey, I'm going to rely on my experience to take me through this fight. Well, you're going to want to get to rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's when your experience will show up. But then by then, are you strong enough to do everything that you've done in the past? And I got a feeling that to that point, he'll be broken down by then.
Yeah, he's getting hit harder in this round. Caleb Plant has already started to lay the wood to Truax here. He's just landing those shots a little harder. He's drawing a little bit of blood on Caleb Truax now.
I'm glad you said that, because that's one thing I like about Caleb. He doesn't just come out and have one speed and one tempo. I think I do that. I kind of have one speed and one tempo through the course of a fight. And if you can't keep up, then you got to get out of the ring. But Caleb will really build in everything that he does, and it's like he gets stronger as the fight continues. And we'll see him start to hit stronger and punch faster as he goes.
And Sean, he just finished a combination with a jab straight to the face of Truax that he couldn't expect. I mean, he is finishing up those shots. He is doubling up, tripling up on jabs. I mean, just showing a lot of good dimensions in this fight.
Yeah, I think to this point, everybody is seeing what we expected from this fight and also from Caleb. We expected him to be too fast for Caleb Truax. Caleb,
good uppercut by
very
DeGale.
good uppercut right there.
Yeah, DeGale able to land there in the final seconds here of round number 4. Maybe a chance and something to build on.
That was a very good run by Caleb Truax. Of course, Caleb Plant doing the same things. Here we go. This is the uppercut I was talking about. It's not exactly an uppercut. It's like I don't know what to call it. I actually call it a funny jab, but it's a punch that goes right to the chin. And then right here, combinations, finishing with the jab, the trailing punch. More of that when we come back.
Back here, and there's Caleb Truax, who is starting to take a beating in this fight. But at the end of the round, here's his moment, Sean. Look at the shot.
Yeah, this is your moment. Let your hands go. You can't be afraid to work right there. Don't worry about conditioning. Don't worry about not being able to touch him. Give him some heat, something to be concerned with.
That was in the final seconds of that round. Not much to build on there, but maybe in something that could enable Truax to build a little bit of confidence as we're in round number 5 and it's been all Caleb Plant.
I gotta figure that Caleb Truax's corner should have known that, hey, if we're gonna catch this guy, we gotta catch him where he can't move. And on the ropes is typically where a fighter is not able to move. You have to be able to swivel and move off of the ropes. But right there, when your back is on the ropes, you have a moment right there to have some success.
It's been all Caleb Plant as of yet, at least by the way we're seeing it. Let's go to Marcos Villegas and see how he's scoring this fight. Marcos, what do you have?
No, definitely agree with you, Brian. It's been all Caleb Plant at this point, 4 rounds to 0. He's just too quick at this point for Caleb Truax. He really needs to try to cut the ring off and go ahead and let his hands go at that point. But you see Caleb, he's moving in and out. It's making it really difficult for him to score punches.
Marcos, thank you very much. Yeah, I agree. Again, it's good to check in and see you're scoring the fight round by round. You never know, you could get surprised. We've had some surprises here already this evening on Fox.
Absolutely.
Didn't expect it here. Good digging and body shot there by Plant. And to your point, Sean, he has some punches that are at varying angles where there aren't names for those shots.
Yeah,
it's like a hybrid.
Because that punch, yeah, it's a hybrid punch. It's like half uppercut and half jab, and that's a jab that I learned really early on, even as an amateur, and we just called it simply a funny jab. But they got another name for it. I'll figure it out and bring it up later, because
it's like a 45-degree hook or something. It's a hook. It's an uppercut. And watch here, and that's nice head movement from Plant. Kind of underrated because you're so focusing on the offense because it's overwhelming. But he has pretty good defense, Sean.
And like I said, if you got good feet, you can step over when he goes to spin out, pivot out like that, and then you'll have that an extra moment. There's not going to be very many moments for Caleb Truax in this fight. There's a moment where you're close. You got to be confident and let your hands go.
And Sean, you brought it up last round. I didn't have a chance because the action picked up here, but you're right. He has different speeds and goes through every gear. You have one gear, but if you're gonna have one gear, make it 6th gear.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I got one gear. It's not a bad gear to have at all.
You know? Yeah. Slap it into high gear and let's go.
Yeah.
Final 30 seconds of round 5. All Caleb Plant so far, but Caleb Truax again given a professional workman-like effort so far. He'll need to change the equation here to try to turn things around. Final 10 seconds now of this round. Tries with the right hand to the body. And so far that jab of Caleb Plant has really made a difference. Outlanding Caleb Truax and the jab just snapping back the head of his fellow Caleb. It's been all Caleb Plant so far. Brian Kenny, Sean Porter with Marcos Villegas and Heidi Androl. Sean, give me one thing, because look, Plant looks terrific, right? We know that. Give me one thing you'd like to see Plant do that he hasn't done so far tonight.
I mean, he's done a combination of all of it, especially through the course of 6 rounds. And he went to the body early. I think even at this point, I would say go back to the body. He started off early going to the body, and he seems to have gone away from it. Hey, the jab's effective. Boxing from the outside is effective, but hey, try to get to that body like he just did right there and break down Caleb Truax.
And then the right hand to the head, punctuate. You can see the eyes now closing on Truax. He's just getting beat up more and more. You see the punches landed. Wide discrepancy, 71-18 in favor of Caleb Plant. Now he's up on his toes. Look, Sean, I know when you were fighting Formella a while back in August, when you got up on your toes, you look like a different fighter. I wonder if Plant would do that a little bit more, or is that, take away from his offensive plan?
You know what? I don't think he necessarily needs it against Caleb Truax. And I thought when I fought Formella, I just wanted to change the complexion of the fight, so to speak. And so I got on my toes just to see what would happen, and I had a lot of success right there. I don't think that's something that Caleb Plant necessarily needs. The straight rights to the body, I'm starting to see him focus on the body a little bit more, and I like to see that.
Yeah, no, he's a different fighter. I thought you looked tremendous when you were doing that, Sean. I like to see it. I know it's easy for me to say. When I'm watching I'm in a suit. Boy, I'd like to see that for 3 minutes every round.
And I went back and looked at the fight, and I heard you mentioned that you liked me on my toes. So yeah. I appreciate that. I did watch the fight back.
Did you watch that fight back?
I did. I watched that one back. Didn't take me too long.
Again, we were talking about that earlier. If you're just joining us, how often a fighter will look back, and frequently be surprised. Fighters don't want to look back right away until they're forced to.
So a smart fighter, they know what they need to do. You have a coach to give you the pointers and the tips when you need them, but you see Caleb starting to focus more on the body, straight rights to the body, and also stabbing jabs to the body to just release the air out of Caleb Truax, which will ultimately break him down. I expect to see Caleb continue to go to the body, Plant.
There you go.
Yeah, more blood now pouring from the face of Caleb Truax, getting beaten down. Just all these shots, the accumulation of punishment as we're in the final minute of round number 6.
And here's another thing I like about Caleb Plant. He'll throw a straight right, lead right hand, out of position. He'll miss, but because he's athletic and because he's got a good feel for who he is as a fighter, he's able to escape and not get touched, even though he did something that wasn't necessarily correct. And that's something that not many guys can do. You know, I honestly, I could list those guys on one hand.
Lead hook there landed just flush on Truax, and now the blood starts to flow a little bit more. That was a hard shot as well. And it's a good point, Sean. What, a right hand to the body again. So many different dimensions, changing levels, changing pace, and landing continuous hard shots. Blood flies from Caleb Truax, 37 years old, and the champ doing a number on him.
Let's go.
There's Caleb Truax in his corner. Sean Porter, I don't know what you could tell Truax. Any ideas?
Well, they said it. They said everything that needed to be said. When you get him up against the ropes, don't back up. Go get him right there. It should have started. That should have started, you know, in round 1 or round 2. Establish who you are in the ring and what you want to do. That's what I always say, and I don't think that was ever established by Caleb Truax.
Yeah, Caleb Truax, again, a good athlete, star outfielder in high school, University of Minnesota graduate. Again, came to boxing a little bit late, but he's been in there with the top fighters in the world. Won this belt, the IBF belt, back in 2017, beating James DeGale in London, England. We've showed you that footage before. But tonight, against a completely different animal, just a very motivated Caleb Plant, a champion who is determined to be the best that he can be. Mentally, spiritually, physically, serious young man, and he has been terrific here tonight. Patient though, Sean, like he says he wants the knockout, and he still may get it, but he'll get it his way.
It's interesting because you break down a fighter, and then it's much easier to get that knockout. You go out and, you know, rounds now 7, and you're gunning for the head, and you're not getting it, but you never took the time to break that fighter down. Now you're looking at rounds 11 or 12, and you won't get the knockout at all. So I think that Caleb Plant is putting in the necessary groundwork to break down Caleb Truax to knock him out later in the fight.
And you can see, Sean, too, that hook just landed and had a bad effect on Truax, whereas before it didn't seem to phase him as much. Nice little combination by Truax.
I'm actually sitting here, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm sitting here wondering what Caleb Truax has got. I saw speed right there, and I saw a little bit of pop right there. Like, continue to work at that pace and do that. You have to be confident that you can do what it takes to win a fight.
Let his hands go, right? Even if it's not thrown hard, but you know, you kind of let them out there.
Yeah, let your hands go. Give Plant something to think about. You've been thinking all night. Give him something to think about.
2 hard jabs coming from Caleb Plant, though. That coming out like a stick.
Feints.
Hard from Plant. Another snapping jab.
And then the feints with the feet from Caleb Truax, but then nothing from the hands.
Final 40 seconds of round number 7. Caleb Plant able to have an answer, even after a few seconds of success from Truax.
And even Truax said, hey, man, I got experience. So we talked about this a little bit ago. You know, round 7, now you're going into 8. This is when you're if anything, when your experience should start to show up.
Mental intensity, though, from Caleb Plant is a significant factor. Good hard jab, just stops Truax in his tracks again. You know, when Truax tries to get close, frequently he just gets stood up. Hard jab from Caleb Plant all night long. That's 7 rounds. Caleb Plant takes a look back at the challenger who might go down. There's Caleb Truax, who is getting beaten down in this fight, but it's a steady diet of jabs from Caleb Plant that's keeping him off balance, Sean.
And Twitter's trying to tell me what kind of jab he's throwing. I know exactly what kind of jab he's throwing. It's very hard to see a jab that comes from the waist. We call that an up jab. For the most part, he is using the up jab. It comes from the waist, and it's hard to time, and it's hard to see, it's flicking. And that's what he's using most consistently. But the other jab that I really like is the one that turns over into more of an uppercut, but it still has the length of a jab. I like that one that he's using as well. So he's got a lot in his arsenal.
And there's the jabs landed totals according to CompuBox, 32-13. Right hand from Truax as he jumps in. And Plant moves him back with the elbow. It's been almost all Caleb Plant here. Round 8 now in Los Angeles. 168-pound championship. IBF title on the line. And watch on the left part of your screen here, we'll see Caleb Truax able to get in here and land that. Wow, that's right off the chin.
Yeah.
Sean, that's in a dangerous spot, even with a beard.
And he took it.
Yeah.
He took it, but here's the thing. I know a lot of people, we talk about experience and what that really means. At this point in the fight, a guy in Caleb Plant, you got 20 fights, 21 fights now, and you haven't gone this distance and been this comfortable. Are you going to let off of the gas? Are you going to stay focused? Are you going to make the necessary moves that it takes to stay safe and stay efficient in the ring? Or are you going to pull back, make a mistake, and get caught with an overhand right the way that he did right there? So that's a part of the learning process for that Caleb Plant's about to go through.
And Sean, that's exactly what Truax was talking about, saying, hey, look, he's faded at times. He wasn't saying, oh, this guy gets tired, he quits. He said, hey, at times, maybe I'll have an opportunity. Good hook there from Plant. Oh, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Whoa, another right hand lands by Truax.
There's another one.
Able to get in close. And he, to give him credit too, Sean, because we've been talking up Plant quite a bit. Truax has been able to stay in there, take punishment, and he's still landing a shot now and then.
Absolutely, and I've been waiting on this for him to hit a switch practically since the fight began, but we know that a fighter with experience, that switch may not be hit until the second half of the fight, if not later. And that's what we're seeing now is the overhand right that's landing.
While you're watching things live on the right, watch on the left here, and there's an example of that hook, but then the right hand bouncing right off Plant's head. So Truax able to have his moments. Look at that.
It's a great fight and great timing. If you're Caleb Plant, get back solid, get back sharp, and be aware offensively and defensively. If you're Caleb Truax, understand that I found a home with this right hand. Let me try to line it up some more and try to knock out Caleb Plant.
Plant nails him with a short right hand there. And then he has such varied shots. Sean, it's a sign of a guy who fights, not just boxes, right? Saying, hey, I don't care what I'm throwing. I want to land my hand on you. I want to bounce my hand off your head.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And now we can, if anything, point out a mistake, a flaw of Caleb Plant. He does carry his left hand low.
Oh, another right hand as Truax went in. Hard body shots land on Truax as he starts to cover up and goes to the bell.
That timing down.
Justin Gamber there in the corner. Sean Porter, what did Gamber mean there, firing on the resets?
Fire on the reset. So the reset basically is when both fighters are like, all right, we've had enough. Let's get back to the center of the ring, or let's reposition ourselves and square up. That squaring up moment is the reset. And when he says fire on the reset, he means don't allow Caleb Truax to reset right there. Fire right there when he's not ready. We're ready. We understand what's going on, but he's not. So fire right there.
And you know what, Plant, Sean, he has a good firing mechanism, doesn't he? I mean, that punch just comes off, firing off fast.
Well, and that's why, as his trainer, you can say, hey, fire on the reset, because he understands that he's got the ability to do it.
Truax is dangerous, though. Overhand right coming in.
Right.
He's landed a few of those shots, so Plant cannot get sloppy. Good jab up the middle from Plant as well. But Truax is game, very game.
Well, let's see if Caleb Truax Plant feels challenged by those overhand rights and starts stepping back towards Truax.
You know, I remember covering a bunch of fights where Buddy McGirt was the trainer, and he said that's the one thing he tries to teach his fighters is there's time, right? Like when you're a young fighter, and Buddy McGirt's a Hall of Famer, former welterweight champion, he said you think, oh, I've got to get this guy, I got to establish something. But Sean, I guess you learn as you get older. 12 rounds, 10 rounds, there's time, plenty of time.
Yeah, it's one thing I tell myself now, I assure you, I didn't tell myself when I was 20-0, and that's when one round at a time, take it one round at a time, and understanding that there's always time for you to do what you need to do, implement your game plan to win the fight. It's not just a matter of the first half of the fight or even the second half of the fight. All of it comes together.
There's that hybrid hook uppercut from Plant right there that lands on Truax. Another good shot. Plant now trying to fire off hard shots and make a statement. Good counter right by Plant, but Truax able to throw his right hand as well. Plant looking to dig in, get a little more leverage now.
I would say right now, go back to the body. I like what his corner said. Fire on the resets. There's plenty of those throughout the course of this fight. You're still going to be able to land the jab at will because that's a punch that Kayla Truax just cannot defend. But go back to the body and break him down. I think he's taken enough off, or excuse me, broken him down enough that the overhand rights aren't effective, but you don't want to continue to get hit with something like that. Kayla Truax may very well get confident and throw a hellacious one and knock out Kayla Plant. It's possible. Go back to the body if you're Kayla Plant. If you're Kayla Truax, keep throwing that overhand right.
You see the face of Caleb Truax here, just all marked up, busted up, flattened through almost 9 full rounds now. But he has kept going forward, trying to get through the fire, and has been able to land the occasional right hand.
There it
is, another right hand by Truax, trying to get a little closer. You know, you have to have the landing device, right? You've got to get close enough to be able to fire that shot and land it, and Truax was able to get his feet in position to throw and land. Final seconds, and that is 9 rounds of the scheduled 12. Next time we're with you, Saturday, February 27th, right here on Fox. Former titleist Anthony Durrell taking on Kyrone Davis. Durrell back in there and looking to get back into a piece of the action at 168 pounds. We'll also get to see Jesus Ramos, undefeated teenager, and undefeated teenager Vito Mielnicki Jr., trained by our own Joe Goosen. So we'll get to see some of those kids on the undercard. And Anthony Durrell in the main event. Durrell, very good boxer. Interesting to see what he has left. Watching Plant Truax here tonight. And again, the young fighters. Take a look at some of the kids that we've been featuring. Joey Spencer with an early knockout tonight. He is only 20 years of age. Mielnicki's 18. Good young fighter. And Jesus Ramos also, Sean Porter, very impressive. 13-0, 12 knockouts. It's amazing what these guys have done at 18, 19, and 20 years of age.
I laughed because you called them kids, but you see their age, and you're like, yeah, no, I've been following this kid for a little while now. All 3 of those guys right there, they're going to be champions someday.
Round 10 scheduled for 12. Again, Caleb Plant, Caleb Truax, Brian Kenny, and Sean Porter with Marcos Villegas and Heidi Androl here at the Shrine Expo Hall in Los Angeles. And now we'll get to see what Caleb Plant wants to do in the final 3 rounds of this fight. He's taken his time. He has outlanded Caleb Truax by a wide margin. Let's see how much he wants to up the ante and press the action. Good hard hook by Plant.
I do see a different type of intensity from Caleb Truax. More movement and more. He's more vibrant now.
He threw a good hook to the body there, but I tell you what, Plant has already landed like 4 or 5 good hard shots, and he's digging in too, Sean, isn't he?
Yeah. No, I don't. You know, I wouldn't say he's digging in, not yet, but I expect him to. I expect Caleb Plant to start to really sit down and dig into those shots.
I don't think so. All right, you're there looking at him here. He's like,
those were good punches that he landed. They were. Those
hard right hand by Truax there. Plant able to roll with that and get out. And there's a good strafing right hand from Plant.
There you go. That's the dig right there. That's the dig.
And it's right around that time that Plant, having done all that work, as Sean, you mentioned, investing throughout the fight in the body work and laying the wood to Truax. And maybe time now to break his man down and get him out. He has talked about, I'm not just bringing up the knockout out of nowhere. He has said, I want to stop this guy.
He's got to find that moment now, Caleb Plant, where he's going to really sit down, like you said, and dig in. There's no more up high on the toes, throwing the fast shots and the quick shots. Now it's time to sit down like he's doing right here and dig into the body and into the head.
That's what he did there with the uppercut to the body, then came up with the hook. Good wicked hook from Caleb Plant in this round.
And he's got to get that left hand up. You know, I call it forward thinking. Think beyond this fight. What am I getting hit with, and what can I not afford to get hit with later on down the road in my career, my next fight, or whatever the case may be. That left hand has got to come up if you're Caleb Plant and protect it. The overhand right is just found a home. Caleb Truax. It's not good.
Yeah, Canelo Alvarez was able to rupture the bicep of Callum Smith, pounding him on the arm, Sean.
Wow. It's funny you say that because I was just thinking to myself, you know, Caleb Truax looks like he's still got a lot in the tank, And I do think that Caleb Plant has done a good job of going to the body, but what else could he have done? And things like that right there, get a little closer to him and bang on the arms a little bit, bang on the shoulders a little bit. It's not illegal, and something that needs to be done. Break a guy down.
You have to be very strong to be able to do that. Final seconds, round number 10. Caleb Truax backing up. The champ gets him on the ropes. Truax dug in his own body shot there. Final 2 rounds here. Caleb Plant, the world champion, IBF super middleweight champion, 3rd title defense. He is 20-0. And now suddenly, I don't know, finding the immovable object, Sean, and looked like he was breaking down Caleb Truax, but he has done most everything he can to him, and Truax, there he is, still standing.
KB, I don't feel like I'm always right, but I did say that the number one thing you have to be concerned with when it pertains to Caleb Truax is his determination. That's always going to be the last thing to go with him, and his determination has gotten him to this point in the fight.
37-year-old veteran. Again, you see the punches landed at 143 to 33. Look, not all landed punches are equal, but Plant has able to outland in terms of jabs, 49 to 14, power punches, 95 to 19. And you see there in punches thrown, out throwing Truax, 458 to 309. Everything in favor, basically, to what we're watching. And you hope that the data reflects what you're watching, and it does indeed. That Plant has been able to sit on his punches and land hard shots on Truax as well. The occasional good right hand has come from Caleb Truax. Let's check in with Marcos Villegas and see if Truax has done enough to even take a round in this fight. Marcos, what do you have?
So far, Brian, through 10 rounds, I have it all Caleb Plant, man. It's been a blowout on his end. You know, I can't find a reason to give Truax a round, and the reason is he's just not landing enough. He'll land 1, and Caleb will land 3. And Caleb's been so effective with that jab and just varying his attack as well. Like, I love what I'm seeing from him so far in this fight.
Marcos, thank you very much. Yeah, I agree. Again, even with Truax having his moments, I don't know, Sean Porter, if he's put anything together enough to win any one single round.
Not for me. There was one round where he landed quite a few, I think 3 overhand rights through the course of the round, but it wasn't enough. Again, your 3 to Caleb Plant's 18. It just, you know, you do the math and you know what that equals. However, I can't see that Caleb Truax, he wants to land an overhand right. He's trying to throw more jabs to basically to get Caleb Plant to look for it. And he's leaning, if you see him, he's leaning over to his right, and that's the way that's how he's able to set up that overhand right.
Caleb Plant, the 3-punch combination, and his work rate for his jab has been outstanding in this round. 1 minute left to go in round number 11. There it is again, beautiful jab snapping the head back of Caleb Truax. Blood flowing from Truax again. You know, it just disrupts your rhythm, Sean. Maybe you can speak to that. When the jab is consistently stopping you, and in this case, snapping your head back, it's hard to mount any type of attack.
Absolutely. I mean, I just talked about Caleb Truax leaning over to his right and wanting to throw a jab simply to land an overhand right, but once you right there, but there's no jab came right there. When the jabs come, it's like it's almost impossible for him to line that punch up. But when he catches Caleb Plant in the moment where he's not throwing, he's able to land overhand right.
Plant able to land a right hand, and before that, after he got caught with a shot, but then landed a hard uppercut, so he's able to land while fire is coming his way.
Yeah, we train the music. The reason for that is rhythm. You know, there's a rhythm to the fight. There's a rhythm to why we do what we do.
Good firefight there in the final seconds. And we're going to go to the corner of Caleb Truax. We'll listen in.
How you feeling?
Last round, Truax will pick him up in the center of the ring. Last round. You ready to go?
Legs out. Listen, there's only one way to win this fight. You got to fucking knock him out. All right? You got to go for broke right now. This is your title right here, and you got to get it.
You can see when he's going to punch. You know, if you don't punch, he stands down, he waits, and then bang. Catch him right before he does it, or when he starts, you punch.
Go for it.
You got to put your feet underneath you and punch like you do on the bag or on Tom or on the pad.
When he steps in, I want you to throw a right hand like you've never thrown a right hand before. There's a perfect right hand right down the pipe.
You got the power to knock him out, but you got to throw.
You got it.
That's going to be the best way to stop him is the melee if you get him on the ropes. Right foot behind you is key.
Well, I tell you what, Sean Porter, we might see something interesting here because go for broke, I understand, on one side for Truax. On the other side, a melee on the ropes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's get it on. Round 12, final round here for the super middleweight title. And you know that Truax knows he needs a knockout, but Kayla Plant's corner, they want that stoppage.
This is what we do. You know, this is what we prepare for. If the game plan was to break him down and knock him out, it's the 12th round. He's further along than you expected, so what? Get the knockout, you know? So I like what I heard from both corners.
Yeah, Truax with great spirit there, trying to move, and you can see, trying to get close enough to land, kind of like Rocky Marciano, right? Trying to land the Susie Q, trying to get that right hand close enough that he can throw that and detonate on Plant's head. Plant not looking to allow that. Keeps busy with the jab, right hand and a jab, drives Truax back.
Yeah, you got a guy countering you with the overhand right, keep him backing up, and he'll never have a chance to even try to set up overhand right. So Caleb Plant, if anything, his offense is now his defense and preventing Caleb Truax from landing overhand right.
Again, Plant is a strong guy at 168. You can see, and that's why I mentioned he's a very different fighter than, say, Callum Smith, in that he is big at this weight. Good hard shot. You can see the width of his shoulders, how he's able to plant and dig and throw these hard shots. He's a strong man. You can't just drive him back.
Yeah, everybody talks about David Benavidez as being a big 168-pounder. No mistake that he is. But Caleb Plant is also a big 168-pounder. The frame is different, but he's big and he's getting stronger at the weight, which is great for Caleb Plant and his team.
There you go.
Final half of this round, final round. Caleb Truax will have to do more, trying to get closer. Caleb Plant has been able to drive him back all night with that jab and is able to keep him at bay so far in this round. Now Plant goes to work. He landed that hook and a right hand.
Is the dig? Is this the dig?
Fast with the hands, but not quite the melee.
That was sweet. That was sweet.
You like the sweet hands.
That was sweet.
Truax still trying, throws that right hand. Glancing shot off the head of Plant. He has likely not won a single round. He will need the knockout for a win. Plant well aware of that. Final 30 seconds of the fight.
Here's the thing, here's the learning lesson. You get to this point in the fight, you control everything about the fight, you won every round, and then you're able to go back and look at this fight and say, hey, I had more in me. I could have gotten the knockout and I didn't go for it. And you make adjustments based on the moments in the fight where you could have done more, and I expect Caleb Plant to do that moving forward.
Final 10 seconds. Hook drives Truax back. Commanding performance by Caleb Plant. 12 hard rounds. Caleb Plant going over to Caleb Truax, paying his respects to the referee, Jerry Cantu as well. Good hard performance for Caleb Plant. Let's go back through it. Caleb Plant able to establish himself, Sean Porter, early in this fight. Look at these hard shots landed by the champ.
The left hand works. Jabs, hooks. I like that. Somebody finally, I asked Jordan what the name of that punch is. It's actually called a shovel jab, and that's that more of that uppercut type of jab that we were seeing. Everything works for Caleb Plant when he's using it. Right there, we saw a triple jab even. And like I said, the left hand is non-stop, and it's very accurate and on point. And not terrible defense from Caleb Truax, but it just was hard for him to catch the timing of Caleb Plant.
Yeah, outclassed. Look at the punches landed, 179 to 47. And then power punches even 124 to 29. Power punches being thrown by Plant, out throwing on Caleb Truax as well. And the jabs even. Sean Porter, I thought Caleb Plant's jab seemed to be the best part of his game tonight.
It's always going to be the best part of his game until he retires. He's got a great jab and he uses it often.
Let's get the decision. We go to the ring and Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, the judges are in complete agreement. We have a unanimous decision. All three judges score the bout 120 to 108 in favor of the winner and still champion Sweethands, Caleb Plant.
Caleb Plant goes to 21-0. Sean Porter, 12-zip for all the judges. Your assessment of Plant's performance tonight?
Everything's been great to this point. Keep working the way you've been working, and you'll be exactly where you want to be soon. That power's got to increase.
Back in Los Angeles, third successful title defense for Caleb Plant. He goes to 21-0. Did not get the knockout of Caleb Truax. Truax doggedly determined throughout the fight, but he took a beating. Took his beating like a man. Caleb Plant gets the win. Still on track, and maybe big things ahead. Let's go down to the champion right now. Heidi Androl is standing by. Heidi?
Thank you very much, Brian. Well, Caleb, you take it to 21-0. You definitely showed the diversity and the creativity in your arsenal, but you did want to finish him. Is there one thing that you could have done more to do that?
I don't know. I kind of hurt my hand early in the fight, and you know, made me a little bit hesitant at times, but I still felt like I put on a great performance, and you know, I didn't get touched really. I feel like I put on a great performance. I'm happy.
Most definitely. Do you think it's broken?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
At what point in was it the first round or the?
It was about maybe a third of the way through, sometime in there. I can't remember exactly, but maybe about the fifth, fifth round.
Well, you should definitely be proud. You came out here, you got a great dominant victory over a veteran and a former champion.
Yeah.
Now let's look ahead to 2021. Everyone wants to know what's next for Caleb Plant. We've talked about it. Canelo Alvarez was not in the landscape the last time you walked to the ring. He is now, and he's talking about unifying. He has to go through you to do that.
Yeah.
Is that what's next for you?
That's my goal, you know what I'm saying? I want to become the first undisputed super middleweight champion of all time. And so whoever's in the way of that, it doesn't matter. You line them up, I'll knock them down right here on Fox.
How do you match up against a Canelo?
As I said before, I feel like I'm the best super middleweight in the world. So like I said, who is ever in the way of me becoming the first undisputed champion, you line them up, I'll knock them down, and we'll do it right here on the best platform you can, Fox.
Are you happy with this performance tonight?
You know, I wanted the stoppage. I'm a little disappointed that my hand got hurt early on in the fight. And but again, I feel like I put on a great performance, and I'm ready for whoever and whatever's next.